which I think there's been moments of like success, obviously, and then moments where you're like, oh, like I failed. Bro, I'm like, I have no idea what happened. Just like, I think it's like one of those times where it's just, you just go up. Because my whole thing is like, I don't want to work if I don't have to. During school, because I want every opportunity to like act and perform in all the mediums that the school offers, because SCAD's amazing. Bro, we had holes in the walls, like, and I mean like where like the eve is, because I was in the act, remember? Bro, I had rats. I was living with rats, and I was like, I can't be doing this. Like, this is a health risk, and it wasn't getting solved. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Jordan Whitrock Show. I'm your host, Jordan Whitrock, and today it's going to be a quick episode. I felt like, there's been some changes to the channel. Also, we're in the middle of the summer, end of the school year. We had a lot of episodes, great episodes with guests last second before we left Savannah, which then left me with a ton of episodes that I wanted to get out before I would give an update, which is why it's taken us to the end of like August to record this, to put out. Summer has been busy. A lot of working, all that good stuff. But nevertheless, here we are. I first wanted to give out, just like, for those who watch these episodes, I greatly appreciate you. If you're clicking on this episode right now, consider dropping a like, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff. But if you notice, we are uploading every other week instead of weekly. I think this was a decision I made at the beginning of the summer because I am working my full-time job, so it's like 10 hours every day. On top of that, I have a part-time job, which, takes more time out of the day, and I'm in a relationship, which if you didn't watch the previous solo episode, I'd go check that one out. But I think, like, priorities shift where it's like, okay, I have to give time, or I want to give time to this relationship, and that means that I have to drop the ball on something. Whereas, like, if you're part of my streaming community, we've streamed like twice this summer, which honestly, I'm surprised we even streamed those 2 times, and I'm hoping we can get more, but, it's always like, I don't know, random chance or whatnot. But anyway, so I'm excited for this episode to give you guys kind of like an update of like my life, like towards the end of last school quarter, like this summer, what I've been up to, what I'm hoping to get done the rest of the summer, and then as we launch into our second and final year of SCAD's MFA acting program, which I'm super excited about. However, let's talk about like this end of the school year. So we got West Side Story in. We've had a couple guests where we were able to talk about that, which is awesome. That show was like incredible. I think it's helped me so much, not only as a performer, but like to definitely get myself in the SCAD ecosystem, if that makes sense. And so I'm very appreciative of like Augustine and Jerry and everyone who worked on that production and whatnot. It was so fun to be able to play Riff. I think I like really connected to that character more than I thought I was going to, which I think is funny because I would have never seen myself as a Riff, but so awesome of an opportunity to do that, which then like kicked us straight into Showcase audition times and whatnot, which I think was like super stressful for me because like obviously it's like the thing that all the students at SCAD like want is Showcase, right? And SCAD does it a little bit different. Instead of giving everyone a Showcase like opportunity, they look at it as more of like, hey, like we want to select specific students that we think fit like not only what we want as SCAD product, but might have a good opportunity to like be seen by an agency or whatever and get picked up as talent. And so like I think everyone goes to school dreaming of that, and as a grad student you have just like less opportunity to meet the faculty or like, at least for me, I didn't learn anything in this kind of like stage, I guess, in acting. Like I don't know how to like do the perfect audition, right, or what you're looking for in my undergrad. So I think going in, I was like, we're just going to have fun. And we had a ton of fun in the acting and the musical. I was fortunate enough to be called back for the musical theater and acting auditions. And the musical theater audition was kind of funny because I got called back and I was like, all right, cool. That's awesome. Now what? So it was like I have to pick a new song, And so as I'm trying to figure out what song I'm going to do, it kind of comes up that like, hey, you should just do the song that you auditioned your first with, which I didn't want to do because I was like, hey, I can do more than just one song, And so, yeah, so I decided to do that song, which was nerve-wracking because like all of the important people are in the room, which is like, honestly, that's what the real world would be. So like a cool experience to just be in a room where everyone who makes the decisions in the school is looking at you and being like, prove it. And you're kind of like, right. All right, let's lock in. And so I think I was definitely nervous, but nothing like out of the ordinary. I think obviously like my fear is like, oh, like I go up or something like that, which, you know, so I get in there, I hand the sheet music, do like the tap, like, hey, this is like, whatever. I walk in, say hi. And they're like, all right, whenever you're ready, say the song or my name, song, whatever I said. And I start and I get like, I don't know how many measures in, but like right as the like chorus starts, like, or not like the chorus, but like the verse that like is the chorus vibes, I go up and I'm like, bro, I have no idea what happened. Just like, I think it's like one of those times where it's just, you just go up and you're like, all right. So I was like, well, in all my classes, everyone has said like, if you go up, just pause and be like, and ask, can I restart? So I was like, wait, hold up. Can I restart? And if they're, of course, they're the kindest people. They're like, yes, no, go for it. So I go over to the conference. I was like, hey, look at the area that I messed up and be like, okay, I don't know why I messed up, but we did. Go back, do it, run through the whole thing then, and it was good and it was awesome. But I walked out and I was like, damn, it was like if you minus like the mess up being the tripped up restart, like it was a good audition. So I was like, okay. Well, it's up to like the acting gods, to see what they have in store, and so it's like you just like I gave that up to God. I was like I tried my best. I feel good because like that was my one thing is I didn't want to walk out of the room and be like, wow, that was terrible. It's like I walked out of the room being like, okay, that was a tough like mess up that I had, but it's not the end of the world, And then that was like kind of the end. We had to move out of my house, my apartment, put some stuff in some storage unit. We packed up my, Toyota, my Pontiac Vibe, and I don't know how I fit everything in and hauled home or whatever. But what I realized I never talked to, I don't know if I ever really talked to like this show about this, but like, bro, I'm getting ahead of myself. Long story short, Gabe, we've had him on the show before. He and I were gonna room this coming year, which I'm so pumped about, because of the situation that I was living in last year. It was just like a nightmare. Like, bro, we had holes in the walls, like, and I mean like where like the eave is, 'cause I was in the attic, remember? And then I had to switch rooms. I don't know if I actually shared why I had to switch rooms. Like, bro, I had rats. I was living with rats. And I was like, I can't be doing this. Like, this is a health risk. And it wasn't getting solved. And then it was also just like, because I'm in the attic, there's no insulation. So whatever the temperature is outside is inside. So, bro, like I literally was like freezing in the winter. And then I was like 90 degrees and just hot. So like, again, so thankful that I even had the opportunity to have a room like that, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to go to school. But I'm so excited for this next year because hopefully none of that will be an issue. And also I get to room with Gabe, and we love Gabe, so W's in the chat. But anyway, long story short, to not detour too much, that was kind of like what my living situation was last year, so I'm pumped for that. So like moving out of that place was like definitely like hey, this was my Cinderella moment. I'm excited to be done with it. And get on with the summer and the next year. But yeah, no, I think like I got home and just kind of went straight to work. I work at Alliance Laundry. If you don't know, it's the biggest manufacturer of washers and dryers in the world. I'm lucky enough to be hired because it pays enough to afford school. Because my whole thing is like I don't want to work if I don't have to during school, because I want every opportunity to like act and perform in all of the mediums that the school offers, because SCAD's amazing. And so it's like, I would hate to like be like, I can't do this film because I have to work this 2-hour shift, But so that's why I'm doing that job, which is like 4 10s, and then you sometimes work in overtime 8. So it's like usually like 48 hours a week, most of the time. Unless we have a tornado, and then it's a 50-hour work week. But then on top of that, I have my part-time like groundskeeping job, which allows me to like have that like fun spending money, or just like during the summer, or just like save it because I have a girlfriend and she lives in New York City, and plane tickets aren't cheap. Like, bro, the World Cup absolutely cooked us because her birthday was in June, and I was, she was like, hey, like, is there any way, like, we had just seen each other, and she was like, hey, is there any way that like we could, like, if I could see you one time, like, and it could be on my birthday, that'd be awesome. And I was like, I was like, I don't know if that's going to work because like we only get to probably see each other like a couple times. And I would hate to like use up one of those times back to back. So then I would have to go like a month or 2 months without seeing you. Little did she know, I was planning on surprising her for her birthday. So I was going to fly out, knock on her door at like midnight because I'd have to work that whole day, get a late flight, fly out. But so it's like trips like that cost money, and there's stories, but I'm going to wait to tell those stories until we get her on the show, which I definitely have dragging my feet because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's a big step to have your significant other on the podcast, So we'll talk through that. We'll see how that looks or whatnot. I know she's listening to this and she's probably going to comment like, bruh. Anyway, but so I think between that, it's like, okay, that's why we have the job, But summer's been good. Like we got to go to Six Flags. I'll have a vlog on my YouTube channel, Jordan Whitrock, with like my siblings and all the significant others and whatnot, which was so much fun. So I'm looking forward to finally finishing that and getting that out for you guys. We also I think just been spending a lot of time with family. I think realizing like last summer was very much like podcast driven, doing every episode every week, working a full-time job. I wasn't in a relationship, so that gave me a little bit more time. But I think realizing like my family is like going into a new era, and that means there's a lot of change, not only with myself, but my family members. And I want to be there and like get to experience life with them at this stage in their life as well. And I think sometimes for me, especially, I can get caught up in like what I have going on, like what projects I can work on, what can I be doing more, that like I lose sight of that, which I'm like, that's like my one thing I'm really trying to work on this year, which I think there's been moments of like success, obviously, and then moments where you're like, oh, like I failed, and I'm going to do better next time. But no, so I think like between that, it's been a good, healthy summer. And whatnot. Tay, my personal trainer from SCAD, I have been trying to work out. However, with my job, my body's been like totally cooked because it's just manual labor for 10 hours every day. So on the days that I come home feeling good, or like I was able to get a brace so my foot doesn't actually want to kill myself, or make me want to kill myself, like, then I'm able to work out. So hopefully this end of the August will lock in as my body's like, maybe getting used to the manual labor finally after 2 months being in. But no, it's all good. But yeah, no, we found out, going back to the conversation of Showcase, I was fortunate enough to be selected as one of the musical theater Showcase students. And so I'm so pumped to be able to do that and be a part of that. I think coming to SCAD, that was never something in my plan. I know talking to professors when I toured, I was like, hey, like, you guys make it seem like everyone gets a Showcase. Doesn't seem like that's from what I'm hearing, that doesn't seem to be what happens, which they're like, yeah, no, it's not. And I'm like, the odds are slim. But I saw what SCAD offered as a school, and I decided like, okay, Showcase or not, whatever education I get here will set me up to be able to audition for agents like on my own or whatnot, and of course Showcase isn't a guarantee for anything. But for me, I'm so pumped to have the opportunity to just like see a different side of the school or world of the school. And who knows what that even looks like. Cause I did not really pay attention too much last year, which might hurt me. Who knows? But, I'm excited, for that. This summer, we also have our 45-hour review for our program, which is like memorizing 4 monologues, and writing character analysis on one of them, which, we're definitely, working on and not waiting for the last month to finish or start it. Anyway, so we have that going on. So I'll have to start locking in for that. But the other thing is our thesis project that we decided. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but to do me, Kenzie, Ivy, and Isabella all decided that we wanted to do our thesis project, which they all have their own episodes, so you can go check out if you want to. But we decided on our thesis project, so we're working on that. So it's like a matter of like doing that character analysis and memorizing those lines and whatnot, which I had my meeting with Kenzie because we're kind of scene partners for a lot of the show. And I don't know, I'm excited about it. I think I just needed a break. I think after school it was like so much, like I barely slept the last 2 weeks just because of everything that was going on, that when I left I was like, I just need to disassociate myself. And then I think it was challenging because I went straight into like that full-time job. So like you literally wake up at 4:15 a.m. and then you get done at like 3, right? So it's like it almost is like a 12-hour shift because you have like almost an hour to get ready for work, right? So I think like I've been so drained, but as now we're coming into August, it's like, okay, let's get back into not only school mode but acting mode, and no more like screwing in screws into metal and stuff not. And so I think that's like, I'm excited because I'm feeling a little bit of that, like, all right, okay, it's starting to happen. We're starting to cook and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to that, and whatnot, and just keep building off of that, and I think all part of this summer has been like, I don't know, I feel like it's been like a good break to see like, hey, is this something that you really want to do, which is acting? Because I think you can separate yourself from school, which is so awesome, and like everyone's so excited to do it, so maybe you can get caught up into that emotion. But to step aside and be like, is this really what I want? Which I think is like, at this moment it is. And so it's like, okay, I'm happy that I get the opportunity to go back and even like bring my skills to a higher level, and we'll see what happens after school. And what does Showcase bring? Does it bring anything? If it doesn't bring anything, what does that look like? What city would I move to if I want to act or try to find an agency? And I don't know. I think that's like, it's so cool and fun. Which I think is like what you want your career to be. If you were like someone who loved just like fixing financial problems or like finding loopholes or whatever, it's like, then that's like business to you. I don't have that interest. What I have interest in is like trying to create a story or tell a story that like touches an audience member, whether that's like laughing, crying, And so like, as I realized that, it's like, okay, yeah, that's what I want to do. Or it's like at work today, I was working with a younger guy, and just like talking with him about like, hey, like you have all like acting was that one thing for me that was like, if I was old and I looked back and I regretted something, it'd be not acting. It's like, what's that one thing for you, and how can you use your time, your money, your health, in a way to be able to work towards that goal still, which I think was just like fascinating. He walked away and he was like, right before the end of the workday, he's like, wow, he's like, you've given me a lot to think about, and I think that's cool to be able to share like my minimal wisdom of like, not only like my relationship, but like financially, and how does that look? Like what is the definition of sacrifice when it comes to like financial, like to not be able to buy everything that you want, or to go without because there's something greater at the end that you're looking for. But no, so like, I don't know, it's so cool to, I don't know. As much as I love school, I think I'm just like, bro, I'm ready to be done with school to start living life. Like I'm sick of paying a school a ton of money, and I know I need the training because I'm not even close to being there yet. But I'm like, bro, I just want to be done. Like whether that means I work a menial job and audition, or does that mean like I give up on acting and I'm like, screw it, I'm like gonna do something completely different. I think I'm just excited to start my life. But I'm also happy with the choice of like going to school right away, so I know like there's not going to be a time that I'm going to go back to school for the most part. I think I'm like maxed out on degrees. So like, I think that's also nice to know like, okay, we're done. So whatever you make with your life is what's going to happen, I think the challenges that arise with like my decisions now is like, okay, if I'm choosing to be in a relationship, how does that look like? I think the relationship is like, okay, like not only am I thinking about like what does Jordan want to do when he graduates, but it's like, okay, how does that affect my relationship? It's like, do I choose to move closer to her, or is it like, okay, but what is our timeline in our relationship of like, at some point you ask the question like, why wouldn't we be married? And if that's the question you're asking at that point, then it's like, okay, why would I move to New York City to like split rent, because I'm not going to live with you until we're married? That's something we've decided together. And so it's like, how does that look? Or it's like, oh, am I lucky enough to get in like a summer stock or something like that? And it's like, okay, I can just work that whole summer, and like after that summer, where does that lead me? Do I go into another show, and like save money so that if there was a wedding in the near future, it's like we can afford that, or is it like, hey, like I didn't get into summer stock. Do I decide to work a job to save money to do that? Or do I continue to like audition because that's what I want? And so I think there's a little bit of bouncing back and forth of like, I don't know, there's like, life is so cool that there's so many routes that you can decide to take that there's no right answer. And I think I'm finding the joy in that, or the excitement or the unknown in that, because I think for a long time I was very much like, I hate this because I want to just know what to do, like what is right, what is wrong. And it's something that you just can't decide. Like it's just something that comes with time. And so I think like that has also like helped grow my relationship with God, because it's like, I don't know, you come from a place that like everyone tells you that you can control whatever, and you realize like by controlling that you actually like not only hurt yourself but others around you, and so you have to like learn to give that up. And I think that's been like, I think, hard for me from that standpoint, and not being able to control that. But I've been able to find the grace in that, and feel that like connection that maybe I once didn't have as strong. And also just like requires you to know your stuff a little bit more, you know. Why do we choose to do this and not that? And I think like all those conversations are so awesome and great. And they kind of only come with time, you know. So you only can have them when you're ready. Or you've had so many things not go your way. You ask yourself like, why is that? Why does it feel like it doesn't want me to do this? And so I think I'm just like if acting got taken away from me tomorrow, it's like, that was fun. Like, what's next, you know? Or if it doesn't get taken away from me, you know, and I get to be an actor at the level that I want to be, it's like awesome. Like, how can I continue to do this but like not fall away from you? Or it's like, hey, like I can't do this because it doesn't align with me. Like, what can I do by myself or with like friends to create what I want to create? And when I have a creative outlet. And so I don't know, there's like so much. I think sometimes I like think about my future, and it like stresses me out. And then I'm like, hold up, wait a second. We have 1 year. We have this amazing year at SCAD coming up this fall, and we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And so with that, I'm so excited for this year to just like work my tail off to do everything I can possibly do for the school and whatnot. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's like really anything crazy updates. Weather's been crazy. There's been like, I swear, 4 tornadoes in Wisconsin, which is like so rare. I feel like maybe we'd have like 1, maybe 2 a year, and it's like, bro, like we've had 4 or 5. I did get to do a tornado drill at my work. I don't think I've ever done a tornado, like gone in the basement or like shelter, other than like at my parents' house, like when at night or something after school. But to like have to go to like the bathroom or the break room to like to take a shelter is like so crazy to me. Yeah, no. So I think honestly that's it. And this is like a short episode because I just wanted to give you guys an update, which is basically in a short footnotes. End of the year was crazy. West Side Story was fun. Auditioning for Showcase was like fun, scary, stressful. The mistakes that we make in the audition room like aren't mistakes if you just don't beat yourself up and you just acknowledge like, oh, I messed up. Like, let me go back and I'll try to nail it this time. Which then brings us to the summer working like full time, you know, in a part-time job and trying to do the podcast and live streaming and have healthy relationships with family and relationship like romantically and whatnot. And then on top of that, I think just like realizing, okay, like as I am enjoying this summer, the summer is also ending. And so then I got to get ready for the school year. But then reflecting on like where I lived last year and be like, well, that was like a crazy experience. And maybe at some point I'll be able to go into more details about that. But yes, no, I just like so fortunate. I love Wisconsin. I think I'm ready to go back to Savannah to start my year, but we have a couple guests here in Wisconsin that I'm so excited to be able to have on the show in the coming weeks. Yes, no, I'm pumped. Like it's so cool to be able to have people that are not only willing to be on the show, but like are interested in the show, that have said like, hey, like I've actually watched episodes because I thought they were entertaining and fun. And so like to hear people say that about this show is like the reason why it's like, okay, I want to continue to do this, you know, and whatnot. So with that being said, I think that's all I have to give for this quick brief what's been going on in the world of the Jordan Whitrock Show. We have some exciting guests coming up here, so stay tuned. If you made it this far, consider dropping likes, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff, and we will see you next week. Peace.